This is the wages scenario. The first thing that you want to do is put your name in. We're going to enter formulas in Excel and use the if-then functions. You will be able to solve problems with multiple entries and use logical functions in Excel. In your job, you may be required to calculate wages. While that is the primary purpose of this scenario, you will also learn how to use logical functions in Excel. You know how to enter the correct information easily, but writing the logical equations requires a bit of expertise, but we'll show you how. Weber Plumbing has the following payroll. Workers earn overtime after they've worked 40 hours, time and a half over 40 hours. Let's look at the payroll below. Jason worked 42 hours, Jill worked 38, Jack worked 40, and Jennifer worked 45. Well, so obviously, Jason had 2 hours, Jill had 0, Jack had 0, and Jennifer had 5. But how do we figure that out using the if function? Here's how it works. Equals, and let's look at the if function. If. The logical test is going to be this value right here. We want to know if G32, well, what about it? If G32 is greater than 40. If it's greater than 40, we would take G32, subtract 40 hours, and if you notice, we would have 2 hours of overtime, which is what we figured. If it's false, then you aren't going to get any overtime, so the overtime would be 0. Now, the beauty of it is once we get that, we can pull it down, and if you notice, our overtime is figured correctly. The regular pay, well, is going to be the number of hours that aren't overtime times the hourly rate. So we're going to need an if function again. If, okay, let's look at what the if function is. Well, if the total hours, which is G32, if the total hours is greater than 40, now if that's true, we're going to take 40 times whatever the hourly rate is, which is E32. If it's false, we're going to take just the G32 times E32. So $756. And if we pull it down, you'll see how much people get paid. How do you find the overtime hours? Well, the overtime hours, or the overtime pay, is the overtime hours times the hourly rate, which is E32, times 1.5, because it's time and a half for overtime. Now when we pull that down, notice Jill and Jack didn't get any overtime pay. The total pay is the regular pay times the overtime pay. I'm going to have to make that just a bit, I'm going to have to format it so that it's, there we go. Ooh, did I say times? It should be plus. That was the problem. Okay, so $812.70. And then you can see what the other wages are. If you notice, if all of these boxes are good, then we got that question right. Now, for the Medicare total deductions and net pay, we need to get their wages first. So the easiest way to do that is in this box for JB, put in his total pay. So I just write equals 032. Now when I pull that down, I will be able to fill in the other boxes. Social Security is the wages times 0.062%. Medicare is the wages times 0.0145%. or 0.0145, excuse me, not percent. The total deductions are these two boxes added together. Oops, that should be equals. Plus the 1178. So the net pay will be the wages subtract the total deductions. And when we highlight all four of those boxes and pull them down, it fills in all our goods. Kind of seems like, or it fills in good for all those boxes. Kind of seems like an easy way to get 35 points. But remember, if you're going to use the if function, you will make your life a lot easier if you have to do a lot of calculations that vary according to the amounts in those boxes.